productivity doesn't come from effort. The lesson Napoleon Hill learned from his mentor, Andrew Carnegie, ****. Have you ever reached the end of the day completely exhausted? With the feeling that you worked non-stop, yet somehow moved almost nowhere? The more effort you put in, the more tired you feel. The more hours you work, the less clear everything becomes. And deep down, a quiet and uncomfortable question appears. Why do I work so hard, and still feel like I'm always behind? Maybe the problem isn't a lack of discipline, or laziness, or focus. Maybe the problem is something harder to accept. You were taught productivity the wrong way. And this is a truth that Napoleon Hill only understood after spending years alongside a man who thought differently from everyone else. Andrew Carnegie. Napoleon Hill believed productivity was concentrated effort. Starting earlier, sleeping later, pushing the body beyond its limits. Until one day, Carnegie asked him a simple and devastating question. Are you busy? Or are you producing results? Hill didn't know how to answer. Because for the first time, he realized something deeply unsettling. Backhand index pointing right effort and results are not the same thing. Andrew Carnegie didn't work longer hours than his competitors. He wasn't the most rushed. He wasn't the most exhausted. Yet he produced more results than all of them combined. And when Hill asked him what the secret was, Carnegie replied with a sentence that changes everything. Backhand index pointing right hard work is the refuge of those who don't know how to prioritize. That sentence echoed in Hill's mind for years. Because it reveals a truth no one likes to face. When you take pride in always being tired, you may simply be avoiding the right decision. Carnegie taught something that goes against everything we were told. Backhand index pointing right productivity doesn't come from effort. It comes from clarity. While other people started their day opening emails, replying to messages, putting out fires, Carnegie started with silence. He sat down. He thought. And he chose one single thing that, if done, would make everything else irrelevant. 1. Napoleon Hill found this strange. Only one task, he asked. Carnegie replied. If you try to do everything, you end the day having done nothing that truly matters. Here comes the first shock. Backhand index pointing right. Most people confuse movement with progress. They are always busy, always rushing, always reacting. But real productivity demands something rare. The courage to ignore almost everything. Carnegie called this essential work. Everything else was noise. Hill realized something even deeper. Carnegie didn't force productivity. He protected mental energy. He avoided small decisions. Delegated what didn't require his mind. Eliminated tasks that created no real impact. Because he understood something most people ignore. Backhand index pointing right. Your energy is limited. Your focus is valuable. And wasting either comes at a high cost. While other leaders bragged about working 14 hours a day, Carnegie ended his work early, but left with decisions that shaped months, sometimes years. Napoleon Hill struggled to accept this. He believed success demanded constant sacrifice. Until he realized that the wrong sacrifice charges emotional interest, chronic fatigue, anxiety, mental fog. The feeling of always chasing, never arriving. You produce, but you never reach. Carnegie taught Hill to ask himself one powerful question every day. Backhand index pointing right. If I could only move one thing forward today, what would it be? That question hurts. Because it removes excuses, demands responsibility, and exposes what you're avoiding. Very often, the most productive task is exactly the one you procrastinate the most. Not because it's hard, but because it requires a decision. And here comes the most uncomfortable part. Backhand index pointing right. Most people use effort to avoid making hard choices. Working a lot looks noble. choosing correctly feels risky. Carnegie wasn't the busiest man in the room. He was the clearest. And clarity creates speed. Napoleon Hill noticed that Carnegie never started his day reacting to the world. He didn't let messages define priorities. He didn't allow other people's urgencies to steal his agenda. He created space. Because without mental space, there is no productivity. Only survival. There's a dangerous myth Carnegie destroyed. Backhand index pointing right: if I don't do it now, I'll miss out. In reality, those who try to do everything now lose what truly matters. True productivity isn't about doing more. It's about doing less, with intention. Hill learned that Carnegie followed 3 simple principles. Keycap 1: clarity before action. Keycap 2: impact before effort. Keycap 3: decision before execution. Without these, all work becomes nothing more than wear and tear. And here is the final detail. The most powerful of all. Carnegie said that productivity is a reflection of identity. If you see yourself as someone who is always running, you run. If you see yourself as someone strategic, you choose. Productivity doesn't change when your schedule changes. It changes when your way of thinking changes. Napoleon Hill carried this lesson for the rest of his life. And he realized that the most productive people are not the most exhausted. They are the most aware. They don't compete for hours. They compete for decisions. So before trying to work harder tomorrow, pause. Ask yourself, what truly moves the needle? Maybe you don't need more effort. Maybe you need more clarity. Because, as Carnegie taught Hill, backhand index pointing right: those who work hard without direction only arrive faster at the wrong place. Now tell me in the comments, are you busy? Or are you building something that truly matters? Because productivity doesn't come from effort. It's born from the right decision. At the right moment. And that changes everything.